In this video, I'm going to be making the ultimate scrap busting project. And when I say scrap busting, I mean like the scraps that you just literally can't use for anything other than rags kind of scraps. Hello friends, welcome back to Karla Created. My name is Karla. If you are new here, I love sewing, and if you do too, then perhaps you should stick around. I have got bags, these two bags full of clothes that are so worn that I can't donate them. I could make rags out of them, or I could send them to a place in Australia that recycles fabric, textiles. That is actually what I was planning on doing with some of this fabric, or all of this fabric. But I've just had this genius idea to make a pet bed for my kitty cats. Now, I have a whole bunch of fabric like this. Old clothes that have got paint stains all over them, that are just too far gone to use for anything else. I've also got like bits of scrap like this that, once again, I can't use this for anything else. There's holes in them, you get the idea. I am going to use as much of this as I can, hopefully all of it, to make the pet bed. I've also got some old work pants here from my husband's that, once again, too far gone. I can't donate this stuff. So I'm going to try and use up most of this fabric to make the outer layer of the pet bed, as well as all of the stuffing for the pet bed. If I need extra fabric, which I kind of feel like I probably won't, I do have this whole tub full of other random scrap fabric. So I'm going to try and make a dent in all of this today. There's definitely some old fleece in here that I might use. I think that will like this. And I'm gonna bring you along on the journey with me. Nothing too serious, just a bit of casual creative fun, because I desperately need it after the last project that I just did, which drove me mad. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link in here. Feel free to go check it out. Let's do this. So I have just cut off the legs of those work pants and cut them open. I've cut off the inner seam as well, and I'm probably going to just sort of stitch the fabric together and cut off this bulky seam here too. And then I'm just stitching them together. I'm going to use the inside as the right side because the outside are incredibly worn. This is going to be the base of the pet bed, like under the bottom, and I'm using the work pants because they're a bit more sturdier. And I just stitched the wrong sides together. Let's start again, shall we?
I want the pet bed to be a kind of oval shape, so I used a large bowl to get nice evenly curved edges. I'm also going to be using a bunch of scrap fabric as the wadding for the base of this, and patchworked fabric as the top layer. I quilted all the layers together using my machine. I went really slowly to ensure I didn't break a needle. I then spent some time cutting up all of the old worn out clothes into usable patchwork pieces. So I cut off all of the collars and all of the seams. I then took some time to patchwork all of the pieces together into one big long strip.
Now, I have finished making the side sort of wall of the pet bed by patchworking all of these cut up pieces of scrap, really worn, stained clothing pieces and a few other random bits that I found into this one big long strip. Now, I have chosen to do this 15 inches this way, which I think will be, when you turn it around, will be quite a good sort of thickness for the wall of the pet bed. And it's obviously the appropriate length for the size of the base. So what I'm going to do now is join these together, right sides facing, so it's one big circle, and then I will fold and stitch it onto the base, making sure that I leave an opening when I stitch it onto the base, so then I can stuff it full of fabric. I might even leave two openings, one on either side of the pet bed, so that I can stuff it more easily. This is actually a very satisfying project because behind me on the floor I have all of the off-cut bits from cutting up all these clothes, so it's actually been dual purpose. I've got the wall of the pet bed, but I've also chopped up so much of the scraps, which I will use for stuffing. Yeah. Here we have the patchwork base. This is the back, and basically it's like a big kind of dish at the moment. We've sewn this on the outside. You'll see there's these raw edges here. Now, you could cover these raw edges with bias binding. I'm not gonna, because it's already really thick and quite difficult to sew through as it is, let alone if it had another layer of bias binding. Maybe if I have to, I'll hand stitch it. Maybe I'll have to, but I probably won't have to, because we're gonna stuff this like outside channel and then we flip it and it hides that raw edge anyway. Anyway, so I've left two openings like I said that I would. Where are they? Here's one here, and then one is on the other side at this end. And now I'm gonna put all the scraps in it. Here's all the scraps. So all of that is gonna now be put in this. Here's how it's looking thus far. Do you get the idea now? So I still need to do, so I'm about halfway and I might run out of scraps actually. And here it is, my quirky little cat bed. Now, I didn't fill this front part, I just sort of rolled this over, and I will have to hand stitch this down because I ran out of waste fabric to fill it. And also it's quite big, probably a little bit too big, so by just sort of pulling these in and turning this in, I could sort of bring it in a little bit and make it a bit cozier for them. They snuggle up together, that's why I made it this size, and they're quite big cats, so I think this size with the lower edge for them to enter in and out actually will work quite well. Yeah, it's very quirky, very scrappy, but I think it's a really good way of using up what would have gone into landfill. Do you think the cats like it? Do you think maybe I should make them like a prettier one that like can be inside for them? Maybe a patchwork
Can you make
pretty
me one?
Why would I make you a cat bed?
I don't know.
Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it inspired you to make a pet bed with old worn out clothes. Or perhaps it inspired you to just get creative in whatever way suits you best. Let me know in the comments what you think of the cat bed that I made. Do you think it turned out all right?
And subscribe to the channel.
Yes. If you love sewing related content, then feel free to subscribe to my channel and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Feel free to just... I never get that bit right. To subscribe.
To subscribe.
There's so many bloopers.